Okay, good, good. Perfect. Shkaya, Shkaya. Baruch Adonai Elohim melech haolam. Boirei minei b'tzaynos.
Yeah, it's too thick for a toothpick. You still left your briefcase over here. That is what? What?
Okay, shkaya.
Rabbi, he said, Hanukkah Samer, Shin Memchet. Shabbat, Halal.
Shabbat, Milah.
Shabbat,
Chodesh.
Chodesh and
Oha. L'chaim, l'chaim. Was fan helen melcham shakum vari.
Amen.
Good here. Okay.
Good for the song. Really good.
Perek, Zayin.
what you got? You need?
That's the one.
What page? 192. Here we go.
One of the favorite stories. I love my shver. Tells it over to my children. I ask him all the time. I don't know. It's just this story I love. My daughter was walking me here now, so she said, "Tati, what are you teaching?" I said, "The story, the half a cup of orange juice." Oh, I love that story. So my shver was Mecca Shlichus, many years ago.
In the 50.
Yeah. I think he was in the low 62. He came to 770, 63. So he was a Mecca Shlichus, and
Became as a teenager?
yeah,
And before that?
in the Bronx.
American boy. A Bronx American boy.
Yeah. So they were Mecca Shlichus, and they went to London, Ontario. It was Lubavitch of Hateshuvah, like the first Hateshuvah, Professor Block. So this so he asked them they should come visit them to visit someone, a very Hateshuvah person in the community. He was a major contractor. He was supplying steel, something like that, steel to the Canadian government. And Vahiyayoim, that the government claimed that he was defrauding them for many, many years. And he had the best lawyers in Canada advise him. And they told him it was a slam dunk case. He's going to win. It was like 95% he's winning. But for it, a court case is a court case. And Professor Block asked him if he would write him a letter to the Rebbe asking the Rebbe a broch. It's not necessary. They said, but, it could help. Okay. So he wrote a letter to the Rebbe asking for bracha for this gentleman for his court case. The Rebbe wrote back, they should check his film. No way. My film are excellent film. So Rabbi Block talks to the woman. He says, listen, your husband was standing a very serious trial. The Lubavitch Rebbe said they should check the film. You know what? I'll give you his film. So Professor Block takes the film and personally takes a plane ride to Toronto, brings it to a Sofer. The film was apostle, mamish apostle. Not Shiloh. It was apostle film. Bought him a brand new pair of film. Came back. Mr. Goldberg, I got you a Cadillac pair of film. Das versteht der Balabos. Cadillac, we're going to tell him. I got you a Sofer from Ravaronov in Toronto. I got you Cadillac pair of film. What? You stole my film? A thief? I told you my tefillin is good. No, they were puzzled. Mr. Goldberg, we found what the Rebbe said. Get out of here. I'm not gonna put on film from now on. He lost the court case, and Nebuchadnezzar had a nervous breakdown afterwards from all the pressure. They said there is a chance he could appeal. There's a 10% chance on appeal that maybe he'll be successful. It's the reverse of Machatchila. Now the expert said that he's not going to be Matzliach. He was waiting trial. So Dr. Block told the Bochum the whole story. And he said, I'd like maybe we can break the ice. This guy's angry at me. Maybe we could break the ice. Tell him that the two shluchim came and sent for the Lubavitcher Rebbe. So they came to see him in the office. Shver describes it was like, back then, the 60s, a fancy office.
Shver was one of them?
Yeah. Yeah. And back then, there's like a bar fridge was like, wow. It's like, if you had a bar fridge in your office, you were like a knacker. So you had in his office a bar, a little fridge. And Dr. Block said the Lubavitcher Rebbe sent two shluchim. Oh, okay, fine. Came in, they sat toilet, they sat down. So he opened up his fridge, he took out a bottle of Tropicana oranges, he took out a few cups, and he gave each one of the bochum, the two shluchim, a half a cup of oranges. He said, I'm giving it to you with a half a heart. Because he was angry about what happened. So the bochum are talking to him. They said, look, Lubavitcher Rebbe told you to check your tefillin. And it's never mind what happened. You still have a court case and there's still hope. He said, no, but it's 90% with a loss on appeal. He said, if you'll do what the Rebbe said, you're 100% going to win. They said, l'chaim with him. He got warmed up. He took the tefillin, put it on. And he said, from now on, I'll put on tefillin every single day.
You give them a full cup of orange.
Before they left, he gave them a full cup of orange juice. And now I'm giving it to you with the full heart. Now I'm giving you the full heart. He went up for appeal and he won. He won. That was the end of the story. Today's Perek is a moiridik geschmacke Perek. Alter Rebbe is fine. I mean, derech ha'emes v'yosher lifnei ish, how to do tshuva. How do you reset the clock? We're talking about many things till today. The cliffhanger, what happened. Now the Alter Rebbe is actually talking about derech ha'emes v'yosher l'bchinas tshuva tato. One of the Alter Rebbe is going to say two things. The Alter Rebbe is going to talk about two things. And one of them is connected to the story that we just spoke about. That's why I started off with the story. Let's read a little bit inside. Page 192. Yeah? Perek Zayin. Perek Zayin. I don't know. Today, I want to just cover some ground. Okay. So, yes, like I get to Shiloh. Derech ha'emes v'yosher l'bchinas tshuva. What is the derech ha'emes v'yosher? We'll talk about soon. There is taka dbir nifla from the Rebbe and taka diuk and emes v'yosher. But first, let's just read a little bit. And then we'll dissect it. Ulam derech ha'emes v'yosher l'bchinas tshuva tato. What is the road, which is this road that is called emes v'yosher? This emes dika road and the straight road in order to get to tshuva tato. I want to reset the clock. I want to reset the clock in my life. How do I do that? So the Zohar says there's two levels of tshuva. Atanya came perfect timing, page 192. Perek Zayin. Ulam. Derech ha'emes v'yosher l'bchinas tshuva tato. So the Zohar says that tshuva means toshuv hay, to return the hay, Tshuva Tata means to return the lower hay. Tshuva Ilah means to return the higher hay. Hey, Bay is the bottom that a clown. In general, there's two nekudas over here in order to get to Tshuva. Echad, the first thing, for a person to awaken in heaven, unbelievable rachmanis. You know, like we just said in Al-Nisim, from the source of all rachmanis, al neshmasoy and his neshama v'nafshe l'kis, and his nefesh l'kis shenofla me'igre rama that fell from a very high place. Chai yachayim baruch. The neshama doesn't only come from a place of life; it comes from Chai yachayim, from the place of Ein Sof. Neshama comes. Nothing in the world comes close to the neshama, even malachim, as we said earlier. And so the nefesh l'kis falls me'igre rama from a very high roof, labeida amikta, to a very dark and low pit. So the contrast is unbelievable. The Rachmanis and the Neshama is unbelievable. What's a dark pit? The places of Tuma. Not only he has a Rachmanis on his Neshama, he has Neshama because Neshama is like a rope. It's connected to Shem Yudke Vavke. And when he drags his neshama down to the Precholos Atuma, he also drags down Klolos of Shem Yudke Vavke. That the Pashup Pshat in the Pasuk is that when he does Tshuva, the Eibush has Rachmanas on the Jew. Now the Rebbe says no. The Pshat is, how does he do Tshuva? Having Rachmanas. What's the Pshat? Pirish Loire Rachim. And we spoke about this many times. We see a very reoccurring theme in the Torah Al Terebe. Rachmanas. It's not guilt. There's no connection. They're not even first cousins. It's not. Rachmanas is a certain feeling of Rachmanas. Yid has. Yeah. He has a Rachmanas on his nefesh alakis. He has a Rachmanas on the Shem Yudke Vavki that's been dragged down into this world. The Al Terebe says that in Perek Chavtes and Tanya, that if there was a melech, a choshev a melech, that someone Rachmana litzlan schlepped him and took his face and put it into a toilet. Rachmanas in him. Pirish lo'ir rachmim al hashpos shem yudke vavke baruch hu shenishtal shlo v'yord toich cholos etrach atmim lachyoisem b'dei maisha enish ach boloisav machshava yisav erois. It happens through the person because the maisha enish and his tachbulas, his machshava erois, drags down his neshama and drags down the kolos yudke vavke, which is like a rope, into cholos atuma. The pasuk says, "Melech osa berahotim." Even though in Shirashina, when the pasuk says "Melech osa berahotim," it's a positive. The Zoya teaches it differently. When the pasuk says, "Melech," it talks about describing Ilu. Shirashim is about a love of a man and woman, and describing how beautiful. It says "Melech osa berahotim." So the Rahotim means the Rahotim b'shikas hamoyim, where the water is running, where the water is gushing. It says that Talpalim Shchodim, that they has like beautiful hair, and and the Pashtup Pshat is talking about how beautiful it is. But the Zoya says, and the truth is the same thing. Also, Rahotim means that it's tied down by this force of this strong. If something is sitting and there's a strong force of water over it, so it's stuck because it's like tied down. So also Berahotim, the Zohar talks about a negative.
We see it with Yaakov and
right, exactly.
And Laban. When he was working for him, he said Barahatim.
Oh, that's right, exactly. Huh?
What are the powers of Yudke?
Why?
What is it? What is what?
We said that the neshama is a chevel from Yudke Vavke. So when the neshama gets dragged down into Tumah, so the general Yudke Vavke gets dragged down into Tumah.
What is it? There's a klala to that?
No, not klala. Who says klala? So melech also berahotim, that the melech is tied down by this current, by this very strong current. And which Zohar says that hite moicha. When a person has bad machshavas, So he drags down his own neshama, drags down the general Yudke Vavke. Vizman Mesugla is a time which is a proper time in order to feel Rachmanos. Al Rebbe said in Sefer Shabbenim that a person can't be walking around all the time trying to work. There has to be set a time for for emotions. Not all day he's walking around this way. It sets a special time. So what's the special time? Zana Sugul Mazeh who Metikin Chatzois Kamashkasa Besidur Be'ore Ein Sham Barichus. Now Rebbe already at that point wrote his Siddur and he wrote along Ha'ora Metikin Chatzois. Gam the Chabad Rebbeim said that what's brought in by the Rebbe Rashab that there's a lot of Oivdei Hashem that complain to him that Zman Mesugul to fear Rachmanas and Neshamas by taking Chatzois. It's not working. Mezman Lazan, you have to shake things up. The Rebbe Rashab says it's true. Taka doesn't work. It's only working, he says, for Anoshim Gedolim, which are very, very in tuned. And because Yoim is man Simcha, Laila is man more the Chushbana, so he says that. So whatever is happening Lamaila automatically is happening Lamata. Similar to that is the story that I'm just going off the topic, but they say that the big Hillel Paracha used to go to sleep a little bit Friday night because it says it's time of Durmita, because Lamaila is time of sleeping. But they said there were big tzaddikim that they didn't have to go to sleep. They naturally fall asleep because that was Lamaila is Zman. So Lamaila, it's a Zman of Rachamim, so also the Lamata, it's a Zman Mesugul for a person. The Rebbe Hashem says that Mamish will see by Yevdei Hashem, it doesn't work that way. It says by Yevdei, a lot of Yevdei Hashem, b'shas they're davening anyway, they're feeling Korav Hashem l'chol korav, they're feeling close to the Eibishter. So that's a good time. And then Machlolos, the Rebbe writes that by Chassidim, the Tikkun Chatzois was a little bit exchanged for Krish Meshalamita. Person sits down on the ground, Chatzois opens a Siddur, you almost feel like a half a tzaddik. It's hard to at that time to start feeling Rachmanas. Bashenko, when a person reads Krish Meshalamita Kedaboi, so then it's a time to make a cheshbon, a nefesh, what happened all day. A male person could come to have rachmanas on his neshama, where the neshama is. Zesh kosav sham nafla teres rishenu. The time of tikkun chatzois, it said no. It's part of the tefillah is nafla teres rishenu oina lo nekichatonu. That teres rishenu is the neshama, the way it's tied up to Yud Kei Vav Kei. Balchein nikra Kadosh Baruch Hu Melech all of the Pirkei Cholos. That there's an unbelievable element to the Eibishter that he's getting dragged down, like Al Rebbe says in Perek Chavtes and Tanya, like a person sees that a Melech Godel that is Rosh is being dragged down in a Beis HaKnisa. Frat kashe is born in a maskul, but Gula Saint Baruch Hu. Till what we said now is if a person doesn't understand the Gewalt of Ein Sof, but he just knows that his neshama is a special thing. And he dragged his neshama and the Yud Kei Vav Kei into an Elban Godel. Flat, when a person spends a little more time thinking about the greatness of the Eibishter at the level of a Malach Kalam, the Seviv Kalam, Kol Echen Vechel, Lefi Shir Sichla, Bavanosai. So when it'll be compounded, Rachmanas, Ismarmer al Zem Oid Moed, he'll feel an unbelievable bitterness. That's the first eight. Second is Lavata Shalachnia Klipa, to break the Klipa. How do you break the Klipa? Shakol Chayusei Rak Pchinas Gasus Vagbo. The whole idea of Klipa is Gasus. Kumeshkosev Takbir and Kanesher Misham Eritcha Nom Hashem. That the Klipa make like now Hanukkah. Kids asked me that there's I should go with them to the south. There's another Hanukkah Wonderland over here on East 14 between J and K. So I took the baby. I took my cherry there to Zen. Oh, it's so exciting. So what is it? This is Maisa Olam Haza, America. It's a machine that blows up. This is the whole Indian of Klippa is it's like a machine. When you close the thing, the ganze Sache kommt up, it's nothing. It's it goes into the palm of your hand. But the whole Klippa, it's everything in this world is smoke and mirrors. It's ungeblossen. The whole Metzias of Klippa is there is substance to it. and it's added to the substance. The whole idea of klipa is hagbo vegasus. The whole idea, huh?
Hitnaso.
Yeah. It's they say there's a story with the Iggeres and Sivas, but they were walking in the park, and the maskilim sitting there, and they walk past, and the Iggeres says he wants them to hear it. He says to the Sivas, I think we're now in the Zman of Ikvus of the Mashiach. The Gemara says chutz beyazge. The Tzvei Yidden gave him advice about it, and these guys are not standing up. So he said, Rebbe Akiva, you made a big mistake. That's not called chutz beyazge. That's regular chutzpah. Chutz b'yazge is when they're going to be angry at us that we didn't stand up for them. But Shlomo Chaim Kesselman used to say that why do you know a person's healthy? When everything is, if you don't feel anything, you're healthy. All of a sudden you feel a pain in your heart. You feel, oh, I have a heart, I have a chest, I have a lung. I feel all of a sudden spine. I feel exactly where this bone is, whatever. Shenishkin go to simmer. When a person feels yeshus, that's not a good simmer. And when a person is not conscious, a person just doing his avodas Hashem, he doesn't feel himself. That's the healthiest way of doing avodas Hashem. The whole inyan of klipa is the inyan of yeshus. The whole inyan of klipa is yeshus. You know the word they say for the Alter Rebbe, but they say it for others. They say it for other Talmid of Hashem. That there was one of the Talmid in the Alter Rebbe that knocked on the door at night. The Alter Rebbe said, "Veridus." He said, "Ich." Ani. The Alter Rebbe said. The Alter Rebbe refused to open the door. The Alter Rebbe says, "Misoser ishva mistonim, ani lo yarenu." Misoser ishva mistonim, even if a yid is a tzaddik nister, but I zok ani lo yarenu. The Rebbe says, I can't see this guy. So then a few minutes later, he knocked on the door, and the Alter Rebbe said, "Who is it?" So he said, whatever. He said nothing, and nothing. Alter Rebbe opened the door. The Alter Rebbe said, "Yeah, the pasuk says in Misosa Ishtamet Mistorim, Vani loy Aren." Then I will see it. Upon him, bottom line is that the whole union of klipa is the idea of agbo of vegasus. When you chop it down, that's just killing the whole klipa. How does a person do it? He has a broken heart. In Pasuk Nun Aleph in Tehillim, which we say every night by Kiddush Shalomita. So the Zohar says, "Kol korban min avayim l'shem yutke vavke midas arachim, reich nachoyach lavaya." But you can't deal with midas adin. Midas adin says no. What do you mean? How is a behema exchanged for the person? Not fear. But Hashem midas arachim. Okay, that's reich nachoyach l'Hashem. Aval l'shem l'kim midas adin. Ema kriven korban behema. Kim l'shaver or lahaver ruach hatumah v'seterachim. But if you want to attack it, break the ruach tumah seterachir if you leave nishbar, that's zivche lekim. Zeh ruach nishbar only through a ruach nishbar. Vaich nishbar ruach seterachir. Shalev nishbar v'nitke. Vaich nishbar alev v'nitke. Hine maat mezeh roe deisi gufen fadnini tenis but there is no ela shein lecho lo no koyach lisanas harbe kidav namela. Kamay marazal v'li b'chol b'kib b'sharg b'tanis. Is lies nishbar v'nitke v'avoras ruach hatumah v'stracher lies v'mor de chushbene. Boime kadas l'hamek daite b'nosa shoachas b'chol yom ha'layla. The person should make a cheshbon nefesh, and that chops down the gaiva, and he should do it shoachas. Shoachas doesn't necessarily have to mean an hour. It means he sets aside time. B'chol yom ha'layla l'fnei tikka chatzos l'zbonu v'masha pol v'asa v'chatovs v'pinf kol tzashchina v'gam godam. Laken and Shmosim, Nafshalakis, Machai Chaim Baruch, Verida, the Mok Matuma, Bamobas, and Echolas Asetrachre, not Nasbchinis Mekovalein. Not only did he now unplug from Kedusha and he plugged into place of Klippa, he became a Makova to Klippa. We'll talk in a minute what that means. That Rishonim in their lifetime they called dead. Koloma Shafiyim and Shachar Mokum Amobas Vatuma. Pasuk says, we just finished saying Kahal for 8 days. It's loig l'rosh. Chazal say a person shouldn't even go to a cemetery. and film biyodei v'chulu, because the pasuk says that's
Sounds
loy
good.
l'rosh. It's like Gemara Brachos Chesed brought la'alocha. So ain't a loy l'rosh. This is what we're saying. La'amesim yalul is not loy l'rosh. Chaz v'shalom. La'kavana rishon shebachayim kruim meisim. These are showing that in their lifetime they're called meisim. They're dead. Why are they dead? Shemaval v'lamaisim ha'machshav zoretz ba'odem b'rishim einam chafetzim b'tshuva k'noida. Because the person that doesn't want to do tshuva, they mavalvel them with mataki machshavas, and they can't be mahalal deibishtek because they're mavalvel them. If a person is not he wants to do tshuva, even if he's not doing tshuva yet, they're not mavalvel them with machshavas others. Okay, really want to digest a little bit information. And first, and the Iggeres based on a Sicha Nifloa from the Rebbe, which was also based on his father, who wrote things on Tanya. The Alter Rebbe writes that there is two things. There's derech emes vayoshin. There's two things to do in order to do tshuva. And the Rebbe's father has a whole thing of Kabbalah that how do you build midas malchus? You have to build up midas malchus. How do you build up midas malchus? There's two major contributors to midas malchus, Yaakov and Yosef. And the Rambam talks about the Levana has like these. Like you have a Levana, it's like a banana. So the Shnei Roshim, a banana has one on the top and one on the bottom. And the Kiddush HaChodesh, you had to go spinning trying to figure out where the Roshim are. So the Shnei Roshim, and one comes from Chesed is Nimshach from Teferes into Malchus, and Gvur is Nimshach from Yesod into Malchus, and that stretches the moon from both sides, and that's how the moon rotates. Zeh Shem. The Rebbe says that his father's bemis giving a hezber nifla on what's going on in this Perek. Okay, so here is the nekuda of the way the Rebbe understands the Perek. And once you hear the Rebbe's hezber, the whole Perek is neicher. You understand what's going on. The Alter Rebbe said in the beginning that tshuva is very simple. Tshuva is very simple. It's one thing. Person is makabel the yoke of heaven. Lo yechteoid. Now he's going to follow what the Eibishter says to do. So what's the problem? The Alter Rebbe says, however, that in order for a person to do the tshuva properly, the Alter Rebbe says that you need to, in order to do it, be'emes b'leiv shalom, ha'hecher chlavar heitev barchovas abir. Connected these two lashonis, be'emes b'leiv shalom, he says now emes vayosher. It's not just two lashonis. We're saying like this. We're saying that accept yoke of heaven. How many times that happened that we're disappointed with ourselves? Enough with the jelly donuts. That's it. This is my last jelly donut. I already had a dozen jelly donuts this Hanukkah that were the last ones. And it is Geshen. How could it happen that I had a dozen jelly donuts that were the last jelly donut? Because if I guess the last time I said it's the last jelly donut for this year, I'm give on anochena. So I had already a dozen jelly donuts. Each one was the last one for Hanukkah. Person says, I'm going to be Mekabel, Malchus Shemayim. I'll do what the Eibishter wants, not what I want, what the Eibishter wants. Very nice. How long does it last? Person wants to be Mekabel El Malchus Shemayim in a way that it'll be Be'emes U'B'Yoshem, Be'emes U'B'Leiv Shalom, that it should last. It should last. But because he knows he has an Odom, and he's in a cotton picking farm in the south, so he tells the line. Why? And if accidentally it'll be Ach Yoim or Yomayim, Yukam, Lo Yenokim Kikaspoyu, even that pasuk we're not going in the south. Even if it was Meistachas Yodoi, is Lo Yenokim. So the Memela, the slaves in the south were working hard in the field, even though Avda Befkeid and Nichalei, because they were scared. But that's not the derech hayosher. That's not the derech haemes that a yid. But that's for sure not the Alter Rebbe's derech. For a yid to accept upon himself el malchus shemayim. So what's going to make that I should be mekabel myself? El Malchus Shamayim. Tshuva Tator, the Alter Rebbe said, Yud Hey Vav Hey in the neshama. The lowest Hey is Maisa. Maisa means that the Eved is Avda Befkeira Nichalai. That means Bepnimis, I'm not a changed person. But if I have an assign, I could stand up to it because I'm a servant of the Eibishter. Does the Eibishter want me to do this or not? What did the Eibishter want me to do this minute? That's what I'm going to do. Just like the cotton picking servant in the South. But the cotton picking servant in the South, from the white southern that I'm getting schmitz, ad zoiv dam, and ad shetetz in ishmasa kipshute. Mashenke me, we don't want that should be my relationship with the Eibishter, that I'm scared from the Moira Dike Gehenna. So let's take that out of the equation. Okay, so what's left now? How am I going to have Kabbalah Shel Malchus Shamayim be'emes u'belev sholem? So therefore, the Alter Rebbe says that there's a derech emes v'yosha to get there. There's a way to do it. There's two exercises, just like in therapy you have sometimes exercises. There's two exercises. There's one exercise to help you be mekabel, to understand the gewalt, to accept the Eibishter as my melech. And the second one is an exercise where I give myself over to the avdus. One is that he is my master, and the second is that I am his eved. There's a moya, like I go now all the time to Houston because Einaklacha there. His Zayd, Reb Chaim Ozer Marinovsky, was actually a Talmud on Zayd. A beautiful story that he said. He said there was a chosed, the Rebbe Marash, came to the Rebbe Marash, that his kids are growing up, and the Taka, the Rebbe told him he should have a kretschma. But he's living among Goyim, he's kids, he wants to move to the big city, have the kids go to yeshiva. He's a malamed in his house, but the Rebbe ignored what he had to say. The Rebbe said that V'ata Machai is called Machai everyone. Even when the Goyim are shikar and they talk, in your kretschma, the Eibush is Machaya. Next time the Goyim are talking, I want you to listen in. I was thinking, next time there'll be the plot of it where he's going to uncover Iggeres. He's going to uncover an unbelievable plot that the Cossacks are trying to do. Who knows what? He's listening in very intently. And he hears one guy tell the other guy, Ivan Nebuch doesn't have a house. He sleeps in the street on a bench. All he owns is one pillow. Disgusting. The Tsar soldier came, the Tsar police there came, and it took away his pillow. Azorius, Tsars. The other one says, that guy, I understand. The police is right. This guy owns nothing. How is he going to know that he's living in a country with this Tsar, the Balabos? You can't take anything away from him. He doesn't know anything. He owns one pillow. Mitsugunuman from him the pillow, now he knows that he's not Stam, a free man. The Tsar is the Balabos. So the policeman, the representative of the Tsar, took away his pillow. Chassid understood. Chassid understood what the Rebbe meant. He has a shlichus in life. He's there in that the Rebbe sent him to be in the Kretschmer for whatever reason. He didn't travel, and that he didn't have a place to stop. For whatever reason, it was important. He didn't to be here, there, and everywhere. So sometimes you have a situation in life, and it's really the police is get to schlep the pillow to the Ramonen that Sedat Tzar, there's a melech here. So if you can't remember yourself, the policeman comes and pulls away the pillow to remind you that there's a balabas. There's a balabas. So Chassid understood that it's not about the chinuch of his children. It's about doing his shlichus. There's one exercise that a yid has to feel, that the Eibishter is my balabos. And the Rachmanis is the tool to get there. Take, there's Yizboin in the Maskel, the Gedula saying Soif, but even without just the Rachmanis, not even understanding Gedula saying Soif, just the Rachmanis on the fact that the Eibush that I drag down the Oide and Sof, the Yutke Vovke, that helps me recognize that there is a balabos. The Eibush is my balabos. And the second is the Leiv Nishbar helps me. When a person has a Leiv Nishbar, it helps me to, at that moment, it helps me to give myself over to do my job. These are the two main exercises that Alter Rebbe is giving to a person in order to get to Tshuva Tato. Again, what's Tshuva Tato? It's very easy. Alter Rebbe says, the emphasis talk is nothing. A person says, I'm accepting the oil, Malchus Shemayim, everything in life. The question is not what I want. What does the Eibishter want? But how does that achlota stay strong past 15 minutes after I made it? In order it should be with emes and with yashrus, it should last, it should stick. So even if it's not a very strong pneumistic change that a person rewired his heart, his brain, his inside, but it should, this malchus shemayim should be that they accepted the Eibishter, that everything in life will, the question was the Eibishter want. So there's two exercises in order to get there. And again, the two nekudas, that's the two nekudas. The nekud, just like a malchus lamaila is nivna through chesed of tiferes and gevura from Yisoy. Same thing over here. There is one thing which is accepting chesed. Chesed is the way the Eibush is nizgal, the Eibush is a melech. And one is gevura. I'm hard on myself that I'm not. I'm giving myself over to what the Eibush wants from me. I'm giving myself over to the Eibush that wants me. There's a story that there was a Balaisik that was an Osher Godel, and he was a Bal Chesed, and he had a rough patch in his business, and he came to the Alter Rebbe and he cried. He said that he didn't care about himself, but he was Neschayev. It was a few Yisoimim, he was Neschayev to marry them off, and now he's in such a bad situation. And the Alter Rebbe said, I'm a little bit cheating on the story because I didn't look it up before I told it, so I'm not telling it over with all the proton. The Nekuda was this, that Alter Rebbe said, du sagst, but du darfst, aber was darf man dir? You're telling me what you need. For who? Who needs you? What do you need it for in this world? So the Chosed decided he's not going home. That was it. Doesn't matter who he owes money, what he owes, what's the business. He's staying in Lyozhna. And that's Tzavain, and he started to focus on his Avodas Hashem. And after he was there for Meshach Zman Oruch, he came back to Chidus the Alter Rebbe, and he wanted to ask the Alter Rebbe and Eitzah now how to go on Avodas Hashem. This time the Alter Rebbe didn't want to hear anything about Avodas Hashem. The Alter Rebbe said, go back to your city and do kach lekach lekach lekach, and they should telephone, they gave him a bracha. Kachava, he went back to do his business. The Alter Rebbe later said that when he wrote, it's not here, but it's a Perek of Tes and Tanya, that a person sometimes is balavachi, he has a leiv nishbar on what's going on in his life, that he transforms that shivra alev. If Islam, there's whatever issue a person could have, that the person has a shivra alev. Alter Rebbe says to transform the shivra alev, instead of it being on whatever it is, it should be on the leiv nishbar where he's standing in avodas Hashem. Alter Rebbe said that he learned that he practiced on this chassid. The taka, it worked with this chassid. It worked. His leiv nishbar was he came to the Alter Rebbe complaining about his business. The Alter Rebbe turned it around. Being a chassid that he was, he accepted it. Didn't say whatever. Okay, but it's not fair. But wait a minute. You know? Alter Rebbe said, "Du sagst, was du darfst, aber was darf man dir?" So he accepted it. And Mele, he focused on his Avodas Hashem.
A vikul or
I would say, yeah, the Leiv Nishbar. So these are the two exercises that Rebbe says. Just that's what that's Nakuda. Right? Just like Binyan Malchus is through Tiferes and Yisoy, through Yaakov and Yosef. The same thing. My Malchus, which the Alter Rebbe says Yud Hey Vav Hey in the Neshama, that the lowest Hey is Maisa B'Poel, Maisa Mitzvahs. So when my Maisa Mitzvahs is lacking, maybe I'm doing it as routine, but it's not what the Kabbalah Soil Malchus Shemaim that it needs to be. So I have to do tshuva in order to Toshev Hey, that the Kabbalah Soil Malchus Shemaim should be Be'emes B'Leiv Shalom. It should be Be'emes V'Yosher. So Alter Rebbe is giving two Mahalchim how to build up. These are two exercises. One is Midas HaRachmonis helps a Yid to feel the godless of the Eibishter, and therefore he knows the Eibishter is my melech. And the second exercise of the Leiv Nishbar helps me, not chas v'shom, we want a person to have a Leiv Nishbar. We want to help, the Leiv Nishbar help is just a tool to help a person in order to, now that he's a Leiv Nishbar, it's easier for him to get rid of the klippa, the ruach klippa that's big, and he can devote himself, again. It's easier for an Eved to give himself over. Person to give himself over is very hard. Mashenkin, when a person has a Leiv Nishbar and he utilizes the Leiv Nishbar in order to give himself over to avodas Hashem, so that is an unbelievable exercise. It's interesting now. The Rebbe says that part of the Leiv Nishbar is that he thinks that he became a makova to klippa. Really, what is a yid supposed to be? A makova l'kedusha. The Rebbe says the biggest compliment that we have for the Ovis is that they were a makova kol yameim. Their whole life they were like a makova to the Eibush. What is a makova? A makova is a car, right? A vehicle. So the vehicle is nothing. It's if I want to go right, the vehicle goes right. If I want to go left, the vehicle goes left. If I want to go 90 miles per hour, the vehicle goes 90 miles. If I want to go 20 miles, it goes 20 miles. Avram Yitzchak Yaakov, the biggest compliment we say for them is their whole life was they're makova telekus. Whatever they did was an expression, was the Eibush Vil. That was an expression of. There's a story that the Rebbe said, but, and again, I wish I looked it up before. The Nakuda story was that Reb Chaim Brisker spent some time with the Rebbe Rashab, and there was a discussion about something. And the Rebbe Rashab said that kach v'kach. Okay, so Reb Chaim said, "What's the raya?" So he said, "Right now, I don't remember the raya. I don't remember." Later, the Rebbe Rashab remembered. The Reb Chaim even said, "Oh yeah, we can bring a raya from the Rashba, Rosh." How did you know it? Why were you so confident when you didn't remember the raya? The Rebbe Rashab said, "From when I'm young, I trained myself that I only when I want to do something, I only want to do what's the Ratzon of the Eibishter." So I felt that this is, the Rebbe Rashab was not trying to act, he was answering a question. When I felt that this was the right thing, so most of us, it's very hard to say, what do we feel right now is the right thing. But the Rebbe Rashab trained himself in a way that's Pshat of my Kovim, that he was in tune, that everything he wanted was what's the Rotzon of the Eibishter. That's what I want. Avram Yitzchak Yaakov or Makova. So Yid, he's a Leiv Nishbar because instead of being a Makova to the Eibishter, I'm a Makova to Cholos Atuma. So that's the second exercise that the Alter Rebbe gives. Second exercise that the Alter Rebbe gives is the Leiv Nishbar that helps a Yid to accept the Avdus of the Kabbalah Sel Malchus Shemaim. They say from the Kotzker Rebbe that they say Iggeres is an interesting thing. And Kabbalah Tumah is only in the Toich. So if the Tumah didn't go into the Toich, it's not Tomei. So that's a Kula on the one hand. The other one, there's a Chumrah that Shvirosan Zu Tekanosim. The only way to be Metar Iggeres, there is no way. You have to break it. So he said that's the Indian of Gaiva. When the Gaiva gets into your Toich, and the Gaiva is on the outside, but if it gets into your Toich, it's bad news. Shvirosan, that there has to be a Leiv Nishbar, and the Leiv Nishbar is Metar. So anyway, to wrap it all up, so this is the Nekuda that Rebbe says that even though later in the next Perek, the Rebbe is going to say that through the Rachmim Merabim or Ma'oyer Lamayla, you give them the Rachmim, the Keneged Mida. But that's not the point in this Perek. In this Perek is Derech HaEmes VeYoshel P'chinas Tshuvat HaTorah. I have to do Tshuvat HaTorah. That means I want to bring back the Hey to connect it. That means Hey is the Maisa, but Kabbalah Zohar Malchus Shemayim. So true, Tshuva is very easy, except El Malchus Shemayim. But how is it going to be Be'emes B'leiv Shalom? So there's two exercises that allow that it should be Be'emes B'leiv Shalom. The first exercise helps me feel that the Eibishter is my Balabos, and the second one that I am an Eved. And the Kabbalah, through this, the Kabbalah Zohar Malchus Shemayim is a strong Kabbalah Zohar Malchus Shemayim. and it lasts for much longer, not just to say, okay, maybe Kabbalah so much Shemaim. Okay?
No, today we don't do this. I mean, it's us.
And the Rebbe says that today it's by Chassidim is more than Krishma Shalmita takes the place of Tikkun Chatzos, and that's taka why the Rebbe a lot of times advises that the person should focus a little more on the Krishma Shalmita Thursday night. Taka Thursday night it was Inyan, but a lot of times the Rebbe said that Thursday night the etzem learning Chassidus is the Inyan of Tikkun Chatzos. Learning Chassidus, the Rebbe said that learning Chassidus is the Inyan of Tikkun
You
Chatzos.
don't have to be a bit.
And Befrat, after the learning Chassidus of a person says Krishma Shalamita, so that takes the place. That's the same Inyan of the Tikkun Chatzos to be Memora de Chushbana. So today it's the Krishma Shalamita. Okay, Rebbe Shalhalfen Take should be Nishbar the in the Welt and we should. Soll sein a Geula Protest, a Geula Klovis, the Klal Yisrael.
Nishva always come Benitka. Nishva Benitka.
Yeah.
Doesn't come by itself.
Yeah.
You have a man.
I don't need.
Maar dan gaat het alleen maar gaan met me. Dat zijn al mensen die mijn ben kwart naar mijn oude zoon.
And whatever you don't need to, you're going to get for the kids.
En we gaan allemaal met die wat zien. Oh, je hebt geen.
Everyone's going to go on. Right? And you can take it.
Oh, maar jij met bottle cabana. That's the kind of kid we're done. The deal is high.